Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this program, our moments with God, our moments with the Word of God, our moments with the love of God, our moments with the compassion and mercy of God, and our moments with the holy ones, the saints of God. And not to forget, our moments also with our own spiritual self, our inner being, where one can find God and where God's love abides. And our attempt to these videos is always to lift our inner self to what we hear from the Word of God, from the lives of saints, etc., so that we slowly but gradually experience a growth in our spiritual life. As you know, these days I have been traveling and have been making use of this chance to ask the SVDs and other fathers to give their reflection on the daily mass readings, as you might have got tired of hearing me every day. And today, for Monday the 20th, I have one very important person, the program director at the Ishwani Kendra, Pune, Father Matthew Kaunkat, who will share his reflection today with us. Welcome to you, Father Matthew.
So, good morning, dear friends. I'm sharing my reflections on Monday, 20th of January 2025. Today we have the readings from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 2, verses 19 and the following. Now, when we look at the Gospel of Mark, we find from chapter 2 to chapter 3, verse 6, right at the beginning of the Gospel, there are several controversy stories which show opposition to Jesus. And so we have today actually the third story of opposition to Jesus that is what we find, where controversy is created. And today it is regarding the fasting, because the disciples of the Pharisees, disciples of John, they fast, but Jesus' disciples are seen to be, not fasting but celebrating. There is joy, and that's what Jesus is asked about, and Jesus is explaining what is happening in his mission, and he is really bringing in the imagery of the bridegroom. When the bridegroom is with them, it is time to celebrate. And we can see in the Bible the imagery of the people of God, and God is connected with the imagery of the bridegroom and the bride. Say in Hosea, we can see that imagery. In the New Testament also, Paul is the one who speaks of it in the letter to the Ephesians. He is comparing the love of Christ, for the church, between the bride and the groom. So therefore, this is an imagery that is really present in the Bible, explained in the Bible, and Jesus is comparing his mission to that of the presence of the bridegroom. It's a time of celebration, it's a time of joy, and that's why, along with this idea of the marriage feast, Jesus also brings in the imagery of the wine and the wineskins, the new ones and the old ones. The new wineskins need, the new wine need new wineskins. The ministry of Jesus cannot be really put into the context of the Old Testament alone, which is insisting on fasting so much as a means of prayer. But Jesus wants to show that, the prayer and our life has to really match. There has to be joy of being with Jesus. And when you look at that, we will also see in the Gospel of Mark, in chapter 3, when Jesus is appointing the disciples, he is calling them to him, and he appoints them to be with him. And to be with Jesus is a sign of being in the presence of Jesus and experiencing the joy of living our faith. And that's what Jesus is really explaining to the disciples as well as to the people, that his mission and ministry that he has begun is a time of celebration and joy of being in the presence of God. And so therefore, this is a time to really ask ourselves, am I really experiencing Jesus? The joy of being with Jesus. This is what really the question that we need to ask regarding our own faith. Is Jesus really present in our lives? And are we able to experience that joy and communicate that joy with one another? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Father Matthew, for that wonderful reflection. And that reminds me also of the encyclical of Pope
Yes,
Francis,
exactly.
The Joy of the Gospel,
Yes,
Gaudete Evangelium
yeah, yeah.
Gaudete.
Yes, yes.
So, God brings joy, Jesus brings us joy, the Gospel brings us joy, the Word of God brings us joy. And I'm sure listening to the Word of God and these videos, you too will experience God's joy and spread that joy with others. And if you like, you may please subscribe to this channel. Thank you, and thank you for the message.